Hi everyone, my name is Keith DeMoe and I'm with Tech. Today I'm going to be walking through a product called Snapshot. Now Snapshot's part of an already existing product that we have called Live Connect. Live Connect allows a user that's working with Power BI, Tableau, or other data visualizations to connect directly to their SAP BusinessObjects environment. What Snapshot allows a user to do is if they're working with web intelligence reports that contain significant amounts of data, they're now able to populate that data within seconds for these reports. And when I say significant amounts of data, we're talking millions of rows of data here. So this is a real big game changer for a lot of our customers. It also provides security and aggregation of data. So what I'd like to do right now is we're going to walk through a couple of screens, talk a little bit about the product, and then we'll go through a short demo. So let's move over to my screen. What is Snapshot? While using Snapshot, a user can run a web intelligence report in SAP BusinessObjects, or it could have been scheduled, and the data gets populated into a database. Now, the user can access all that data through Power BI, Tableau, or whatever data visualization they may be working with. And the power behind Snapshot, it gives access to significant amounts of data and quickly. So we're talking about populating millions of rows of data within seconds into these reports. So it really is a game changer. So what I'd like to do right now is just spend a few minutes and we're going to take a look at the product. So we're going to go over to my demo site right now. So this is a site I've set up for Live Connect Snapshot. What we're going to do is just walk through a few steps on how the solution works. So here I'm going to go to a sample web intelligence report called Large Set that I'll run from Snapshot. As you can see in the demo, I can schedule this report or I can just run it on demand. Another option is to use latest instance, which you can see there at the top. Where you'd use latest instance is if a web intelligence report is large and takes a lot of time to run. This could be a web intelligence report that could have 10 million rows of data. Or maybe there's limitations on the server side with users running reports through the course of the day. So you might want to target specific times to run large web intelligence reports, or you might want to run them overnight. Whatever the case may be, the report gets scheduled in BusinessObjects. And then Snapshot is triggered when the instance is ready to load. Then Snapshot loads that data. So for this presentation, I'm just going to run a web intelligence report right now. So we have our report running, and I'm going to show you how to access that snapshot from Power BI. Okay, so we've loaded up Power BI here. You can see it's asking me here for credentials, so something to remember is all security here is enforced, so that's important. All right, so I'm entering in my credentials, and I'm going to connect to a database for snapshots. So in this case, we're connecting to SQL Server. I can see large sets. I've selected that, and you can see it's connecting to Snapshot and loading the data. Now, this specific example has 60,000 rows of data. So it's small, but you can see how quickly that just loaded up. So many of our customers are working with millions of rows of data. So customers love the speed and the security of this product. It is lightning fast. Okay, so I have my elements here for data visualization over on the side. So depending on what I'm doing, I can create a data visualization, or most cases I'm refreshing data visualizations. Okay, so in snapshots, you can do several things. You can run, schedule, or for several of our customers, request time zone. So if you're a large organization, global, you might be working with time zones for your web intelligence reports. Okay, so this here field shows it's a timestamp. So this is important for time dimension or aggregation. I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to be walking through a couple of business cases where that's being used. So that's really important for many of our customers. Okay, so you can do several things here. If you're a user, you can come in, and I mentioned that it gets scheduled in BusinessObjects, and then Snapshot is triggered to load the data, but depends on the situation, depending on how large those web intelligence reports are. As a user, you can come in here and refresh the data. Okay, so you have several options there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to move over to a couple more slides and walk through a couple business cases. Okay, so let's walk through a couple business cases. Before we do that, just some highlights on the solution. Snapshot can be scheduled, run on demand, or triggered to populate after large web intelligence reports have completed in BusinessObjects. Working with SAP HANA, Snapshot works great, allowing the query capabilities that do come with Webby. Speed and security are of course important. You can create snapshots of web intelligence reports that query various universes, and a user can combine all this data in Power BI, which is really powerful. Snapshot is time-stamped and can be used for aggregation in time dimension, and I'll be touching on that in one of my business cases. Security and single sign-on. All credentials for users is required and works well with data flows and gateways. Okay, so we're going to walk through a couple of business cases here. The first scenario comes from a large pharma company. So the requirements. The customer needs to track trends. So they need a report that will track trends throughout the day within their warehouse. So they're looking to aggregate data for trend reporting, and they need an automated process, of course, to do this. So here we have a screenshot of a Power BI report that an operations manager is working with. So from the report, you can see through the course of the day how productivity is functioning within the warehouse itself. We have to pick, to pack, and what has completed, and it gets updated every 30 minutes through the course of the day. So what's happening behind the scenes is Web Intelligence is scheduled to run every 30 minutes. And Snapshot refreshes the data right after the completion. On Live Connect Snapshot Manager, we can see the administrator has several reports running every 30 minutes. So we can see an ongoing trend analysis for this warehouse. Before Live Connect Snapshot, the customer couldn't make this report. So through manual means to populate data and make sense of what was happening, the user would have to download Excel files and put all that data next to each other, and there'd be a lot of manual work and too many things could go wrong through that process. And also Web Intelligence always overrides the previous data. So trend analysis became difficult. The report now just runs and changes are shown while using Snapshot. Okay, on to our next business case. A user is working with Live Connect to simplify data flows in Power BI. This user has many daily reports scheduled in BusinessObjects. Some of the reports are small, like 2,000 or 3,000 rows. For these, they're using blocks to export data, and some of the reports are using live data. For small amounts of data, Live Connect works perfectly and does not require a snapshot. For large web intelligence reports, the administrator is using snapshots. And once these snapshots are in the database, the administrator can access through Power BI as I walk through in the demo. And when required, the analyst can run a refresh from Live Connect. And as you can see in the screenshot, there's several large reports being used. Live Connect can pick up the completion signal in BusinessObjects, and as soon as the latest instance is ready, it triggers the update. The administrator is working in this case with global inventories, so they schedule a report based on region, so whether they're in Europe or North America. This way the administrator can paste the loads in BusinessObjects from Live Connect. Also, when the administrator goes to Power BI, they can create a data flow or multiple data flows. And they can create one source of data with the latest inventory for the whole company. Before using Live Connect, the administrator would send emails from BusinessObjects with CSV attachments, then build Microsoft flows. The administrator would go to the inbox and extract certain SharePoint folders, and by doing this, it would override existing files. It was complex, it had limitations due to attachment sizes. If it was a zip file, for example, that had more than 500,000 rows of data, it would be above the threshold and it would fail. It took a long time to do all of this. The administrator had many complex reports that required a lot of data. So to load millions of rows of data to Power BI would take at least an hour. Using Live Connect Snapshot, the administrator can load this amount of data within seconds. The administrator, as he described it, says it's lightning fast. So Snapshot's replacing a complex data process in this specific case. In Power BI, loading text files from SharePoint to get to a data flow compared to a SQL connection to Live Connect is night and day. Okay, so here's some screenshots of data visualizations that administrators are working with. These are from some of our customers, and they're using Snapshot to populate data. Some of these reports are very complex and contain significant amounts of data. All right, so that's Live Connect Snapshot. Please feel free to contact me for an evaluation. Thank you.